The video opens with a serene view of a small town. The camera pans over a fire station as the narrator begins to describe the protagonist. Meet Marcus Taylor, a 32-year-old firefighter with a heart of gold. Known for his courage and humility, Marcus has spent the last 10 years risking his life to save others. Cut to Marcus, sitting in the firehouse kitchen, laughing with his colleagues. His easygoing nature hides a deep personal struggle, revealed through a subtle moment when he gazes at a photo of his late father, who was also a firefighter. Narrator. To Marcus, firefighting isn't just a job, it's a legacy, but it's also a weight he carries every day. Introducing the old man switch to a scene showing an elderly man, Mr. Henry Cooper, living alone in an old, cluttered house filled with photographs of his past. Narrator. Across town, Henry Cooper, an 85-year-old widower, spends his days alone. Once a celebrated writer, life has taken much from him: his wife, his health, and now his will to keep going. The old man is seen lighting a candle in remembrance of his late wife, a small but poignant detail, foreshadowing the events to come. Building the anticipation return to the fire station, where an emergency call comes in. A house fire reported at Mr. Cooper's address. Sirens wail as Marcus and his team leap into action. Narrator. Little did Marcus know this call would change his life forever. End the segment with the fire truck racing through the night, lights flashing, and Marcus silently preparing himself for what lies ahead. Scene 1. Arriving at the scene. The fire truck screeches to a halt in front of Mr. Cooper's burning house. Flames engulf the structure, and smoke billows into the night sky. Neighbors gather, shouting for help as the firefighters leap into action. Captain, we've got reports of an elderly man trapped inside. Marcus, you and Daniel take the east side. Be careful. Marcus, nodding. Got it. Let's move. Marcus and his partner Daniel grab their equipment and rush toward the house. Scene 2. Inside the burning house, Marcus breaks down the door, and they're immediately hit by thick smoke and intense heat. He calls out, Marcus, Mr. Cooper, can you hear me? We're here to help. Faint coughing is heard from upstairs. Daniel, he's up there. The stairs are unstable. Marcus, we don't have a choice. Let's go. The two carefully ascend the stairs as debris falls around them. When they reach the second floor, Marcus spots Mr. Cooper, collapsed in a corner, clutching something in his hands. Scene 3. The rescue. Marcus kneels beside Mr. Cooper, checking his vitals. Marcus. Sir, we're here to get you out. Can you stand? Mr. Cooper weakly shakes his head and whispers, Take the letter. Marcus notices an envelope clutched tightly in the old man's hand. He gently takes it and tucks it into his jacket pocket. Marcus, we'll get you and your letter out of here. Hold on. With Daniel's help, Marcus lifts Mr. Cooper onto his back. The stairwell collapses just as they descend, forcing the firefighters to find another route. They navigate through flames and falling debris, eventually breaking through a window to safety. Scene 4. Aftermath, outside. The firefighters emerge from the burning house, met with cheers from the crowd. Marcus lays Mr. Cooper on a stretcher as paramedics take over. Paramedic. He's alive, but barely. We need to get him to the hospital now. As the ambulance drives away, Marcus removes his helmet, taking a deep breath. His partner pats him on the back. Daniel, you did good in there, Marcus. Real good. Marcus feels the envelope still in his jacket, but doesn't open it yet. He looks back at the smoldering house, unsure of what the letter might reveal. Scene 1. Returning to the firehouse. Marcus and his team return to the firehouse after the exhausting rescue. The mood is subdued as they clean their gear and reflect on the night's events. Marcus sits alone in the break room, staring at the envelope he retrieved from Mr. Cooper. Narrator. For Marcus, the letter felt heavier than it should. It wasn't just paper, it was a mystery waiting to unfold. He hesitates for a moment, then opens the envelope carefully. Scene 2. Reading the letter. Inside is a handwritten letter, yellowed with age. Marcus begins to read aloud softly to himself, Mr. Cooper's voice, overlapping Marcus's narration. To whoever finds this letter, I've lived a long life filled with mistakes, regrets, and a few moments of great joy. If you're reading this, it means fate has connected us, and I hope my story will mean something to you. My biggest regret is never thanking the man who saved my wife and me during a house fire in 1958. He was a firefighter, just like you, and he risked everything to save us. His name was Thomas Taylor. Marcus stops, his heart pounding. Marcus, to himself, Thomas Taylor, my father. Scene 3, the emotional impact. Marcus reads further, realizing the letter is both a tribute and an apology. Mr. Cooper explains how the rescue inspired him to live a better life, but how guilt kept him from reaching out to express his gratitude. Mr. Cooper's voice. I hope that by some miracle, this letter finds its way to someone who understands the courage and sacrifice of men like Thomas. If it does, know that I am forever grateful. My life is a testament to his bravery. Tears well up in Marcus's eyes. He clutches the letter tightly, overwhelmed by the connection to his father, a man he admired but felt he could never live up to. Scene 4. Marcus reflects. Marcus folds the letter and places it back in the envelope. He looks at the photo of his father he carries in his wallet, feeling a newfound sense of pride and purpose. Narrator. In that moment, Marcus realized that his father's legacy wasn't just in the lives he saved. It was in the lives his courage inspired. And now, it was Marcus's turn to carry that legacy forward. The scene ends with Marcus sitting in quiet reflection, the letter in one hand and his father's photo in the other. Scene 1. Visiting Mr. Cooper in the hospital. The next day, Marcus visits Mr. Cooper at the hospital. The old man is frail but conscious, and he smiles faintly when Marcus enters the room. Marcus. Mr. Cooper, I found your letter. It meant a lot to me. Mr. Cooper, surprised. You read it? I didn't think anyone ever would. Marcus pulls a chair closer, holding the letter. Marcus. The firefighter you wrote about, Thomas Taylor, he was my father. Tears well up in Mr. Cooper's eyes as he reaches out for Marcus's hand. Mr. Cooper, your father was a hero. I owe him my life. I've carried this guilt for years, never being able to thank him. But seeing you, knowing you followed in his footsteps, it feels like I've come full circle. Scene 2. Mr. Cooper's story. Mr. Cooper shares his story, detailing the fire from 1958 and how Thomas saved him and his wife, sacrificing his own safety to ensure their survival. He explains how that act inspired him to live a better life, becoming a mentor to struggling writers and donating to fire safety initiatives. Mr. Cooper. Your father didn't just save my life, he gave it meaning. And now here you are, continuing his legacy. Marcus listens intently, feeling a deep connection to his father's memory and to Mr. Cooper. Scene 3. A gift of gratitude. Mr. Cooper motions to a box on the bedside table. Mr. Cooper. There's something I've kept all these years. It belonged to your father, and it's time it found its way back to you. Marcus opens the box to find a worn firefighter's badge with the name Thomas Taylor engraved on it. Marcus, choking up. I can't believe this. I thought this was lost forever. Mr. Cooper. It's yours now. Your father's courage lives on in you. Scene 4. Renewed purpose. Later, Marcus sits in his car, holding the badge and letter. The weight of the moment settles in as he reflects on his father's legacy and his own path. Narrator. For Marcus, the letter wasn't just a message from the past. It was a reminder of who he was and why he chose this life. The scene shifts to Marcus returning to the fire station. Inspired, he shares the story with his colleagues, emphasizing the importance of their work and how it touches lives in ways they may never fully realize. Marcus. Every call we answer, every life we save, we're leaving behind a legacy. My father taught me that, and now it's our turn to pass it on. His words resonate with the team, rekindling their pride and determination. Scene 1. Honoring the legacy. A few weeks later, Marcus organizes a small ceremony at the fire station to honor his father and other fallen firefighters. Colleagues, friends, and community members gather to celebrate their bravery. Marcus stands before the crowd holding his father's badge and the letter. Marcus: my father, Thomas Taylor, believed in the power of courage and selflessness. His actions inspired a man like Mr. Cooper to live a meaningful life. Today I stand here not just as his son, but as someone who understands the ripple effect of every choice we make. The crowd nods in solemn appreciation, some visibly moved. Scene 2. Marcus and Mr. Cooper. In the audience, Mr. Cooper sits in a wheelchair, smiling proudly. After the ceremony, Marcus kneels beside him. Marcus: thank you for sharing your story. It's given me more than you'll ever know. Mr. Cooper, grinning: thank you, Marcus. You're proof that your father's light never went out. They clasp hands, symbolizing the bond forged through their shared history. Scene 3. A new beginning. The next day, Marcus visits a local school to speak with young students about fire safety and the importance of community service. He holds up his father's badge and tells the story of the letter, emphasizing how one act of courage can inspire countless lives. Marcus: being a hero isn't about wearing a uniform. It's about making choices that help others, even when no one's watching. The students listen, captivated, as Marcus hands out small firefighter badges, hoping to inspire the next generation. Scene 4. The takeaway. The video closes with Marcus standing outside the fire station at sunset, holding his father's badge. Narrator: Marcus's story reminds us that legacies aren't built on fame or fortune. They're built on kindness, sacrifice, and the lives we touch along the way. Every small act of courage creates ripples that can inspire generations. The camera pans to the horizon as Marcus walks back into the station, ready for whatever comes next. Ending message for viewers. The final screen shows a motivational message. Legacy isn't just what we leave behind, it's the lives we change while we're here. Be the spark that ignites courage in others.